Mama's in the mirror watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she yells, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running a theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one." Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess who with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one."
So today we have something interesting. This is what happens when you have two people that you don't like suing each other. Alex Murdaugh, whose double unaliving conviction was overturned last week by the South Carolina Supreme Court, has now decided to sue the former clerk of court who pled guilty to perjury for her role in jury tampering. We're going to get into this because, remember, just because his conviction was overturned does not mean that he's innocent. And just because you agree with someone's point of view and that you think someone overstepped does not mean that you like the person that wrote that is doing the suing. This is where we need to remember that two things can be true at the same time. I can hate somebody and still think they have a point. So let's get into this because your girl ain't got a lot of time. Papa Squid is leaving today. The little is having a day where she is acting like a 3-year-old, down to the core. Up, down, up, down, up, down. So we're going to get through this as fast as humanly possible because your girl is stressed. Your girl is not having a good day. I tried to go work out. I didn't make it through half of it because I was cleaning up somebody's mess the whole time. So we're just in a really stressed out kind of a day. So I usually don't grift, but if you want to send those super chats, today would be the day to make me feel better. But it's not required. It's just a thing. However, little housekeeping work. First things first, 2 of our community members need our thoughts and prayers. One, her husband had a surgery and there's been some things that did not go right as a result of the surgery. And she is she's a really good friend. She is a very big supporter of this channel, and her whole family right now could use some extra thoughts and prayers. I'm not going to say who it is. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'm sorry. It's not my place to say names, but she and her family could use some prayers. And then one of our most valuable members of this community, my good friend, like a second father to me in like the YouTube kind of spaces, someone who has helped this channel more than he will ever know. Jeff Grady had a surgery, and there has been some complications with that as well. And his son is giving me updates. However, I'm not going to give a complete update. All I know is that family could use their thoughts and prayers. Jeff, also known as Volusia 1, you've seen his name in here, could very much use our thoughts and prayers, and his family especially could use our thoughts and prayers. Hopefully by the end of this week, they will have some answers and they will know. And also, third person, Roy and his wife especially, Roy as her better or worse half, better half, other half, caregiver who's been by her side through her entire cancer fight, could also use some thoughts and prayers. If you are the praying type, I'm not telling you that you have to pray. If you are the positive vibe type, if you are just the well wishes type, please give those 3 members of our community your well wishes. Their families could need it right now, and lots of others too, but those are the 3 that are just coming to mind straight out of the gates. So it's a thing. And Unhung Hero, thank you for the 20 gifted Squid Pro Quo memberships. You are also a valuable member of this community, and you and your wife could also use thoughts and prayers as well. Just pray for the whole damn community. Everybody could use it, right? Okay. Everybody could use some positive thoughts these days. Don't be negative, Nancy. And Heidel, thanks for always being my super mod. I appreciate you so very much. And sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I was over in T3's chat talking boobs. If you know, you know. Anyway, we are going to get to this. Hi to everybody in chat and all my lurkers. We are going to get to this. And this was filed in federal court in South Carolina. This was, so I did pay for these documents. However you feel about that, you feel about it, you know. Hey, SMN, Ammo's girl, Roy, Gale. Yeah, boob talk, multitasking. Hung Hero, thanks for the $2 super chat. If Miss Becky Hill stepped in it. Yes, and this is I don't have to like somebody to think they have a point. I don't have to think someone is innocent to I don't have to think someone is innocent to understand and agree that they didn't get a fair trial. Because if we don't give the worst of the worst a fair trial, we won't get a fair trial. Today it's this mofo. Tomorrow it's you or me. And if it's not fair across the board, then if the worst of the worst aren't given their civil rights, then that could easily happen to you, me, or anybody, Joe Schmo off the street. So, you know. All right. So everybody knows Alex Murdaugh was accused and found guilty in 2023 of unaliving his wife and his youngest son. However, I did talk about that, and the South Carolina Supreme Court say that 10 times fast. I did talk about it last Friday on our Wait What show. And other housekeeping stuff that I forgot to mention. I do know that Lips is back at her bullcrap again. She filed some stuff. We're going to talk about that on Friday, because that makes you go, wait, what? Anyway, and there was also new Tyler Robinson documents in a new hearing. I think because there's so much that I can't cover all the time. If you want to watch that stuff live, I do know Flash Fan is covering it on his Discord. And also, I am just going to do an every month, end of month, what happened in Tyler Robinson's case this month. Just because there is so much, there's so many documents, and I know other people are covering it. I'm just going to do a once a month wrap up stream of what happened that particular month. I think that would be the easiest way to do it so that everybody stays up to date and I stay up to date, but I don't have to be chasing documents and streams when I'm trying to juggle 2 channels, 2 jobs, build a business off of YouTube, all of that. So, you know, I do know that there are certain people who are back at their bullcrap again. We will get to it. Trust me, I will never pass up an opportunity to make fun of Leslie Federico's. It's kind of like the highlight of my week. John, how are you? Good to see you. Where have you been? I have missed you. All right, Alex Murdaugh brings a civil rights action against defendant Becky Hill, formerly the clerk of court for Colleton County, South Carolina. All right, everybody knows 42 U.S. Code 1983 is a civil rights action. Defendant Becky Hill for deliberate and egregious deprivation of plaintiff's constitutional right to a fair trial before an impartial jury, guaranteed by the 6th and 14th Amendments of the Constitution. Just before we get into like what he specifically says, the South Carolina Supreme Court in their decision pretty much said this. So I see her trying to, just a prediction, see her trying to settle this because the South Carolina Supreme Court pretty much backs this up. And if 5 justices on the Supreme Court of a state basically say that you didn't give him a fair trial, so we're overturning it, there's a really good chance that this lawsuit will be successful. I mean, that's just my my personal prediction. But this was just filed 5/17, so Monday, Sunday, brand new. Yeah, I know that's your favorite phrase because there's no delay there. But that's a you problem. Hey, Jen. All right. No right touches more the heart of fairness in a trial than the right to an impartial jury. Barnes v. Joyner, 4th Circuit, 2014. And that right was stolen from Alex Murdaugh by Becky Hill. And I will get snarky during this because I believe she tampered with the jury. However, that doesn't mean I think he's innocent. Which is why, as a member of the court, you need to keep your hands especially clean, because when you interfere with shit, guilty people go free. Guilty people might go free because you interfered with shit and you tipped the scales of justice, as the Supreme Court said in their decision. You just need to keep your hands clean. So sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and mind your own damn business. March 7th, following a 6-week trial in Colleton County, South Carolina, Mr. Murdaugh was convicted of the murders of his wife, Margaret, and his son, Paul. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms. He maintained his innocence then. He maintains his innocence now. Neither Mr. Murdaugh nor his counsel knew at the time of the trial that Ms. Hill, the elected clerk of court for Colleton County, the officer of the court charged as the primary caretaker of the jury, had secretly and deliberately inserted herself into the jury's deliberative process for personal financial gain. As the Supreme Court, and I'm glad they mentioned this because this is kind of the crux of the whole case. As the Supreme Court of South Carolina has now held, Ms. Hill, quote, placed her fingers on the scales of justice. And their decision was released May 13th of 2026. Unhung Hero, thanks for the $5 super chat. Between Comes Now and Halfcock, I'm not sure which is best. Oh my goodness. And hey, Sleepwatcher, how are you? Working and lurking as usual. Hey, Uncle Buck. Becky's too stupid to understand any of this. Deep down, she probably thinks she did nothing wrong. Well, she did plead guilty to perjury. I have to go back and actually look at what her perjury charges were, because with so many people, in my opinion, lying to the courts lately, and so few people actually being charged with perjury, I'm surprised that I can't remember exactly what her specific perjury charge was for. I will have to go back and look. And hey, King Paco, how are you? Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Nervous for tomorrow, going bikini brushless and getting an x-ray. X-ray? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Acting under color of state law and abusing power and authority of her elected office, Hill made repeated improper extrajudicial communications, urged them not to be fooled, construes thrown off, essentially employed the jurors to find him guilty. They go on to say that it was for self-serving profit because she was writing a book, and she believed a guilty verdict would be the best way to sell books. I mean, honestly, probably not. I honestly think an innocent verdict would have been the best way to sell books, but that's just me. Because people would be like, what the hell happened where he was found innocent when everybody thinks he's guilty? But that's just me personally from a business standpoint. Hey, King Bob, how are you? Well, I hope everything goes well tomorrow. Don't stress about it too much, because stressing just causes a whole subset of other problems that nobody wants to deal with. She was, in the words of former Chief Justice Toll, attracted by the siren call of celebrity. The quotes from the Supreme Court's decision are amazing. And it's one of those things where the justices seem to get snarky, but in a professional manner. And they threw her under the bus. Her improper communications to the jury were deliberate acts, directed at jurors which she was sworn to protect from outside influence by an officer of the court elected by the very people who make up Colleton County jury pool. Her conduct, according to the South Carolina Supreme Court, and I am so happy that they keep bringing this up. And once again, I do not think that Alex Murdaugh is innocent. However, two things can be true at the same time. I can think someone's guilty of sin and still think they have a really good point and their rights were taken away, and Becky Hill is just a super bitch at the same time. So remember that. For those of you who have never seen my channel before, two things can be true at the same time. And I don't have to like somebody's personality to understand that sometimes they're right. Which really sucks, because when I don't like somebody, I always want negative things to happen to them, because I'm a petty bitch like that. However, I'm also a realist and realize that even a broken clock is right twice a day. Just saying. Like, just saying. The South Carolina Supreme Court called it breathtaking, disgraceful, and unprecedented in South Carolina. English is hard. People are like, why can't you speak another language? I have a hard enough time with fucking English. Let's be honest here. Let's be perfectly honest. English is hard. You really think that I can read a second language? Y'all are nuts. So he brings this action to hold Ms. Hill accountable for her wrongful conduct with compensatory and punitive damages. Because he is a convicted felon, because he has been convicted of the financial crimes, which he pled guilty to, if he does win this, he will not get any financial gain. He will not, most likely not ever receive any money. But I'm curious, because there's laws that prevent convicted or people behind bars from actually getting, financial gain. However, I'm curious how much money he owes in restitution to his financial crime victims, And if he did get an award, if that money would go to them. That's a lawyer question. I don't ever claim to be a lawyer. That would make sense to me. But as we've learned about the law and the legal system, what seems like common sense doesn't always apply. And parties, we both know the parties. I mean, if you don't know Rebecca Hill or Alex Murdaugh by now, people, Emily D. Baker, for one, streamed the entire trial, as well as Rackets, and I think a few others. Those are the two that I watched it on. You can go back and you can watch the original trial. It's 6 weeks of so much fun. However, he was found guilty. And jurisdiction, I don't claim to. Colleton County, where this courthouse is near Charleston, so it totally makes sense that it's Charleston Division. But that's just me, because, geography and shit. Factual allegations, he was indicted for the murder of his wife Maggie and son Paul on July 14th of 2022. His unaliving trial began January 23rd of 2023. 6 weeks, ending in convictions on March 2nd, and sentencing on March 3rd. They didn't waste any time. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Somebody's sleepy today. All right. The state rested its case in chief, and the defense began its case on Friday, February 17th of 2023. And I go into the dates more. But as the defense began its case, Ms. Hill told jurors, y'all are going to hear things that will throw y'all off. Don't let that distract you or mislead you. Additionally, Ms. Hill told juror 826, the new foreperson on multiple occasions went to another room to have private conversations lasting 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes they would go to the jury room's single occupancy bathroom together. This was something I had heard that just, you stop and you just go, why would two people go to a single occupancy bathroom together in a courthouse? Yeah, she'll be 4 this year. What the heck happened to my little tiny baby? Where's my little baby? Do you know where she went? Where'd she go? Baby went in the house. Yeah, and she came out at you. Yeah. I could never understand, like, this just seems shady when you see 2 people go into the same bathroom in like a mall or a store or some, it just seems shady. Then in a courthouse between a juror and the clerk of court, something just seems off about that. Just saying. Foreperson juror 826 never said anything about the content of those conversations to other jurors. Ms. Hill even instructed jurors they could not ask foreperson juror 826 about the conversations. This is another red flag number 2. Or 3 in this case. I mean, should we get a red flag counter? Like, somebody get on that. So we're at 3 red flags. And some of this, yes, might not actually be true. But remember, we have to take it as it is true. But a lot of this we've heard for years now. This is not a secret. This single occupancy bathroom issue came out in 2023. So it's we've known about this for a while. So when Murdaugh testified in his own defense, before he began his testimony, she told jurors not to be fooled, red flag number 4, by the evidence that Mr. Murdaugh's attorneys presented, which at least one juror understood to mean, go get it, that Mr. Murdaugh would lie when he testified. He also instructed the jury to watch him closely and look at his actions, to look at his movements. Oh my goodness, Steve. Oh. Angel book.
Mommy blanket.
Yeah, mommy blanket. You got a blanket now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry for the interruption, but someone is like, yeah, that's red flag number 4. And which at least one juror understood to mean that he was guilty. Immediately after he testified, 8:26, told the jury Mr. Murdaugh was crying on cue. Red flag number 5. She also criticized the former 4-person jury number 589 for handling Mr. Murdaugh a box of tissues when he was crying on the stand, because that is what the defense wants us to do. Like, you can think someone is evil, it still shows someone a basic human decency and a basic form of respect. Like, you don't have to like somebody. I show it every day. You don't have to like somebody or be friends with someone to understand that sometimes people need a basic level of human decency, and you might get more out of them in the long run if you're nice to people. They might tell you things that they might otherwise not tell you. They might talk to you. They might help you if you need it. Not saying that you're still going to be friends or you're going to like each other, but a basic level of treat people like you want to be treated, even to somebody completely that I find despicable and evil and a completely awful human being, I'm still not going to go out of my way to be a dick. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. And hey, Rickles, how are you? And she just went out of her way. It's one thing to think all these things. Oh, he's faking it. He's faking it. We talk about it all the time. When we watch trials, we look at the jury, or not the jury, but we look at the defendant. We're like, no emotion. Look at him just sitting there. No remorse. None of this, none of that. And like, we look at stuff and we judge all the time. But there's a difference between what you say and what you think. It's just one of those situations. So thank you. I just got a text. Title 15, Civil Remedies and Procedures, Chapter 39, South Carolina. A convicted person's lawsuit proceeds, settlements, or workers' compensation awards can be intercepted to satisfy criminal judgments, court-ordered restitution, and fines. You're welcome. Thank you very, very, very much to the person who sent me that. I appreciate it. T3 Raid, how are you guys? No, if I think it, I fucking say it. Oh, there's that. Hey, Stacy, how are you? And thank you to the person who sent me that. I really do appreciate you very, very much. You have shown me a kindness that you didn't ever need to. And I appreciate it. I do. Yes, it worked. Hey, T3, how are you? You done with your boob talk?
What?
And to the person who sent me that, I thought that was the case, but like I said, I'm not a lawyer and I never claimed to be. And sometimes what makes sense, what seems like it would be common sense, and just the easy way of doing things does not always equate to what happens in the legal system. You'll know. It's, you know. The next court day, this is what I don't understand, or I don't remember, is why the former 4-person got replaced by a new 4-person. I don't know if that detail was ever discussed, and if it was, I don't remember why. So, for the next day, Monday, February 27th, Ms. Hill told the trial judge, Clifton B. Newman, about a Facebook posting she purportedly saw on the 24th while pursuing a Facebook group page called Walterboro Word of Mouth. The post purportedly juror 785's ex-husband allegedly stated that his ex-wife was saying that she was on the jury and saying stuff about how her verdict was going to be. I remember this. I think this was the egg lady. Judge Newman asked Ms. Hill to produce a copy of the posting. She could not, but according to Ms. Hill, a subordinate employee in the clerk's office discovered that the post was taken down and replaced with an apology post. Folks, I posted an ugly post yesterday, to which I've deleted. I kind of, in a roundabout way, directed it towards a certain person, and I would like to apologize to everyone who read it. That ugly for me, and yes, I let Satan control me. I broke down. This is a very South Carolina post. And started drinking, and when I was drunk, I made that post, and I'm sorry. Mark Twain quote, common sense is the least common of all senses. Well, that's very true. I felt like when I was younger, I had a lot of book smart and no common sense, and now I have way too much common sense and not a lot of book smarts left. But the apology post states the initial post was already deleted on February 16th, so it would have been impossible for Ms. Hill to see the original post on February 24th. These are details that we did not get when they all came out in the media back then. Yeah, the egg lady was railroaded. Juror 785's ex-husband has averred in a sworn statement that he made no such posts. Mr. Murdaugh has obtained the authentic download of the entirety of Ms. Stone's Facebook activity from January 23rd to March 2nd of 23, which confirms he did not post the apology. The supposed original post, if deleted, would not be recoverable at this point under Facebook's retention policies. And that he, in fact, never posted anything to the Walterboro Word of Mouth Facebook page during the trial. February 28th, Ms. Hill questioned Juror 785 about the fictitious post. Alone in her office in the courtroom. This is another thing. Like, if you are doing something or you're admonishing somebody, you're questioning something, always have witnesses. Don't ever do anything alone, because then it's just a he said, she said. There's no witnesses. There's no recordings. Stuff is just weird. And there's no way to cover your behind if stuff is done behind closed doors. So she told Juror 785 that someone had emailed her stating her ex-husband posted on the Walterboro Word of Mouth. I would love to see the copy of that email, because I don't believe that it exists. I really do think that Becky Hill was seriously trying to, in something, I believe she thought she wasn't going to do she wasn't doing anything wrong because of the fact that there was so much overwhelming evidence against him, which I believe there is. Like I said, I think he's guilty as hell. However, just because you think somebody is guilty does not mean that you're allowed to interfere and put your hand on the scales of justice. I don't understand why this is so hard for people to understand. I'm not a lawyer, and it makes perfect sense to me. I'm not a court clerk. It makes perfect sense to me. I'm not a paralegal. It makes perfect sense to me. You don't put your freaking hands in shit that doesn't belong to you. You don't interfere with stuff. She sent it to herself. If it does exist, it was probably sent to her by someone she knew. I'm willing to put money on that. But that's just my conjecture. None of that is proven. That's just my if I had to take a guess, that would be it. That Juror 785 had been drinking with her ex-husband, and that while drunk, she expressed opinions on the guilt or innocence of Mr. Murdaugh. Juror said, why would someone drink with their ex-husband? there's another there's another one of those you. Why would someone go drinking and get drunk? It's one thing to have a drink. My parents have had a drink together. They've been divorced since like the mid to late 80s. But that's another story. They've had a drink together, but they don't go out and get drunk together and they don't tell each other stories. Ugh. That while drunk, she expressed opinions. She told Miss Hill that never happened. She had not seen her ex-husband in 10 years. Then 785 asked to see the post, but Miss Hill would not show it to her. Yeah, because it doesn't exist. We're still at 5 red flags. This is more like she's a walking red flag. Like I think I wanted to count red flags. You know what? I think we should just and that's yeah. I don't think he killed his family, but I do think they died due to his actions. That's fair. Hey, how are you? I'm from AJ's chat, her and Gabby. I love it. How are AJ and Gabby doing? I wonder how many times she did this in the past. Girl, snipe on her. What the hell? Really now, sir? Really now? Really? This is necessary. Change your freaking picture. Yeah, the alternate theory. If he didn't do it, I don't think he actually did it. Like he wasn't the one who, did the boom booms. I think he knows who did, and I think he had something to do with it. It's Grandpa. What did Grandpa say? I don't know. We're gonna find out.
I know.
He'll be back here in 20 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
But yeah, this woman is a walking red flag. And hey, Dragon's Gravy. But if he didn't do it, he knows who did. There's the other. In which case, I think he's still an accessory and he should still be behind bars. Yeah. Because I went into that trial stating just because someone is a shitbag of a person and they're guilty of financial crimes does not automatically make them an unaliver. But I was convinced that they were. What do you change it to now? That's better. That's more me. Yeah. All right. Miss Hill directly after 785, whether she was inclined to vote guilty or not guilty, 785 said she had not made up her mind, which is fair. And probably even if she did have an opinion at that point on how she was going to decide the case, I think she made the right decision by not saying anything. Later that day, 785, Ms. Hill told 785 that South Carolina Law Enforcement Division and Colleton County Sheriff's Office personnel went to Mr. Stone's house and confirmed he made the post. This is just, for some reason, that is over. See, and that's like sending the FBI in for a speeding ticket. Like, when somebody does something that's overkill, it takes away any credibility that they have. Like SLED wouldn't waste their time on this. That's courthouse personnel, which is the sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department, plausible. SLED, it's just what? Yeah. I don't know. I think he did do it. Why? Because if had a family member who spent all the money, was maxed out on credit cards, behind meeting, evicted the next day, and husband, both kids, didn't want to be shamed with the facts. Husband thought too highly of her. And you know what? Everybody, we will never actually know what happened unless he confesses to anything. Because at the end of the day, all we are presented with is a theory. It can be plausible. It can be beyond a reasonable doubt, but at the end of the day, it is just a theory and it could be wrong. So, you know,
Mommy, don't.
what about the crazy uncle who botched the roadside shooting and still think that stinks? Yeah, there's a lot of going all the way back to the boating accident. Not the one where I lost my pew-pews, but oh, thank you. She made sure I had the unicorn blanket. Going all the way back to the boating accident. There is just stuff is just oh baby. Blanket. I know you had to blanket. It's right here. So there's just a lot of stuff that you know, yeah, and Sled also doesn't have the best credibility. There is that. It's just, and this is what makes this so fascinating, is because I really do want to know what happened, because this is not unbelievably far from my house. In fact, when all of their possessions were auctioned off, I could have taken the little to my mother-in-law's house and driven there within, you know, a reasonably short amount of time and gone to the auction of all of their personal items. I didn't want to, because I thought having the items of unalived people in my house was just creepy at the time. But I could have, you know, the auction was in Georgia and not far from my house. So it's yeah, this whole thing is crazy. Stacks of piled on crap. I kind of wanted that leather couch, but at the same time, I really didn't. And Mr. Squid never would have, never let me have it. And hey, Zach, how's my favorite? Yep, you know, I am good. I did have mac and cheese for lunch, so I'm a little, I am being a fat ass today, but not as much as before. This was a fabrication by Miss Hill. Shocker. Miss Hill told Juror 785 she would somehow reinstate a restraining order that 785 previously had against Mr. Stone. See, and this is the thing. If she had a restraining order, why would they be getting drunk together? It's just one more thing that doesn't, you know. Oh, it's fine. Have you never never heard me speak? Like, it's a do what I say, not what I do. Did they auction the 300 blackout? I don't know. I think they did. However, speaking of that, Mr. Squid had to use my desk the other day for something, and he took my toys away. They're currently sitting on top of the pew pew case in the bedroom. So they're, you know, you could have collected spooks like in Ghostbusters. Hey, you're not getting me you're not you're not getting me. No, she started the music app on her iPad. I was like, no, girl, you're not getting me
No.
you're not getting me copyright struck with your iPad music. Like, I mean, the story behind having one of the pew pews would be interesting, and start a collection of macabre items, and that would be one of them. It was just a so it goes on about 785. Later that day, Newman examined 785 regarding the non-existent Facebook post and the tenant coworker email in camera. 785 described her interactions with Ms. Hill regarding the post. She denied making any inappropriate comments to the case to third parties and stated she wanted to hear closing arguments before forming an opinion on Murdaugh's guilt or innocence, which, as a jury member, sounds like a fair thing. Let's wait till closing arguments. and we have all the facts, and then make a decision. So, footnote, co-worker, tenant 785, emailed the court February 27th stating that the tenant said her landlord was a juror and had expressed an opinion about the case when delivering a refrigerator to the property more than a week early. After 785 was dismissed, Newman said, "Oh boy, I'm not too pleased about the clerk interrogating a jury as opposed to coming to me and bringing it to me. He was right to be concerned." And the fact that he said that on the record, sometimes you just need to, even as a judge, you need to keep your mouth shut. March 1st, the jury visited Moselle, the site of the unalivings. 4-person 826, and Miss Hill walked off to have yet another private conversation. I want the Boone suitcase, Halverson fireplace poker, and Shabusiness's worksite bucket. I can do without the I can do without that, but the freedom seed thrower, that interests me just because, like, I have a 1946 Mosin Nagant. It's technically not a World War II gun, but it is. It's just made 1 year after the end of the war. However, it's 1 year away from having a collectible. I say it's Mr. Squid. I have a pew pew with a bayonet attached. It's the coolest thing I have ever seen. I want to mount it on the wall. It is beautiful, but scary as hell. Oh, please, no suitcases. Yeah. So the history of freedom seed throwers and the stories behind freedom seed throwers interest me. World War II, World War I, Korea, all of that. So having a gun with a negative story attached would kind of be the morbid fascination to me. However, not all the rest of the stuff that I have a few mid-40s rifles. One's a Mosin. We have just the one. I will never actually shoot that though, because it has no. I would lose my shoulder. I would. My shoulder would be gone. I have a fin capture Mosin Nagant that still has the capture tag. Ooh. If YouTube wouldn't eat me for that, like, I would do a stream just talking about like collectibles like that, but YouTube, I'm too small of a channel to I would get yeeted so fast. And since this is part of how I pay my bills and support my family, getting yeeted is not really an option. Miss Hill, in her book, which is not published or was pulled because of plagiarism claims. It's a whole nother issue. Miss Hill more vaguely hints at communicating her opinion on his guilt to the jury during the visit to Moselle. While the jurors viewed the Moselle property, we all could hear and see Alex's story was impossible. Some of us, either from the courthouse, law enforcement, or jury at Moselle, had an epiphany and shared our thoughts with our eyes. At that moment, many of us standing there knew. I knew, and they all knew, Alex was guilty. There are certain things that I would wait like years to do, and writing a book about this case while you are still clerk of court is probably not a good idea. You might want to wait 5 or 10 years and write a memoir. That day, Judge Newman also held an in-camera conference regarding the tenant coworker email. Let me see what Becky's talking about. I want to revisit the Facebook post that you mentioned. Right. Can you tell us about the post? So she goes and says more about the post. Miss Hill, when I heard there was an email on Monday, I figured the two went together if it was true. Well, it's confirmed she has an ex-husband who she has 3 restraining orders against. So this is one of those things where if she has 3 restraining orders against this man, why would they be sitting there drinking together? Common sense would instantly tell me that this shit is a lie. You don't get a restraining order against someone and then go, hey, let's go have a drink. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. And if you are going out, then you need psychological help. I am not one to diagnose, but if you have 3 different restraining orders against somebody and you decide to call them up and go drink with them, you are taking things, you have more of a problem than they do. Grandpa's, you want to go get Grandpa?
Mm.
Okay, Grandpa. Oh, sweet Jesus. Yeah, she doesn't learn. Satan was in it. Yeah, all the details. Miss Hill never saw any such Facebook post. She made it up. Further, she knew the apology post was not posted by 785's ex-husband. 785 showed Miss Hill a picture of her ex-husband, which is not the Facebook profile picture of the other Miss Stone's post about Satan. Papa Squid in the house. Stick it on me so people know you're a real person. March 2nd, the day of the verdict, 785 received a call from her ex-husband that she did not answer. The call upset her because Miss Hill's lies had led her to believe he was posting on Facebook about her and might be stalking her. If I were that juror, I'd be suing Becky Hill too, because she's, you got a Snipe says, hi, Papa Squid.
Hello.
Thanks for changing your picture, Snipe Hunter. 785 asked to speak to Miss Hill. She told Miss Hill she was scared and that the Murdaughs probably got to him meeting her ex-husband. This I did not know about. This irks me in a completely different way. And Becky Hill, you are the next person that deserves the Cuntosaurus label. Hold on one second. Jeffrey, I could bitch about Becky Hill all day, but we still not I'm not starting over. I made it to page 8 of this in about 45 minutes. I am not starting over. But I do need water. I got this new bottle and I'm really not sure how I feel about it. So, yeah. All right. So you not only potentially lied, if this is true, which based on the fact that you pled guilty to perjury for something related to this, most likely this is accurate. The South Carolina Supreme Court decision backs this up. But you made a juror believe that she was being stalked by her ex-husband that she has restraining orders against. Somebody call Roslyn and give Miss Becky Hill a nomination for a Giphy Award. Like, y'all. He has another one. He had 2 laptops. One was his gaming laptop and one was his just like leisurely, like out on the couch, But, Becky Hill. Somebody, yeah, Roslyn, I have a new I have a nomination for another Giffy Award. Becky Hill. I don't know what her category would be. Government employee of the worst government employee of the month or something like that. I don't know. Somebody'd have to figure out a category that's more creative than me. But this is just bull crap. I don't remember. I don't remember. She might. It might have been from a couple. I mean, this trial was a couple years ago. So, oh, he's not going to. He took apart his desk. There's nothing over there right now. That whole wall is empty right now, except for a modem and a battery backup. That whole wall is empty. But she could always get more. Yeah. Huh. I mean, she could get one for, I mean, this is Rosalind's thing, not mine, so you have to talk to her. But she could get one for just an overall, government employee shitbag, not doing her job, getting a murder conviction overturned. But then this is another level of like, what are you doing? You made a juror scared that her ex-husband was stalking her, allegedly, so that you could write a book? Like, why? Like, sometimes things just need to be boring. Like, sometimes things just need to be boring. So, Hill once again asked her opinion regarding Murdaugh's guilt. 785 told her that Creighton Waters was the Attorney General's office prosecutor. Closing was good, but that she still had questions. Miss Hill asked what questions. 785 replied she was concerned that no murder weapon was found. And that Hill asked Miss Hill then asked, well, what makes you think he's guilty? None of this is appropriate for her to be talking about the jurors. Every time the jury leaves the room, the judge will tell the jury not to discuss the case with anyone. That includes other jury members, the clerk of court, courthouse personnel. Like, do not discuss, if you are on a jury, do not discuss the case with anybody. This is so improper for her to be doing. Like, I understand completely why his conviction got overturned. I don't like it, but I get it. It's one of those things that you don't have to like something to understand why it happened and to think it's the right decision. It was going to be hardback and an internet book. The ebook was on Audible. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, considering I voted yesterday, yeah. I voted yesterday, so I don't know why that came today in the mail. No. All right. But it got pulled from production or print because of her plagiarism claims, which is a whole separate issue that could be a stream of its own. So Paul's video at the dog kennels was what he thought he was getting. None of this should be discussed. Like, 785 went to the juror room and 10 minutes later was excused from the jury. In open court immediately after her excusal, she asked Judge Newman if he had spoken with the clerk of court, referring to the conversation earlier that morning. Judge Newman responded that I have not spoken with her today, and that's totally independent of any conversation regarding her ex-husband, apparently misunderstanding her question referring to the Facebook issue of the Facebook post. Yeah, no. We don't know because some of those charges were federal. So she wouldn't have had anything to do with that. So possibly no. But the state charges, maybe. It depends on if she was clerk of court and if she decided to interfere with those cases as well. But off on the face of it, no. All right. Hey, French. Oh my goodness. So Miss Hill told jurors that the trial they would be famous and predicted that the media would request to interview them. Miss Hill even handed out reporters' business cards to jurors during the trial. Once again, very inappropriate. And you think if she did this with this trial, what other crap has she interfered with? And what other juries could have been tampered with? And maybe innocent people are behind bars, or this was all during the trial. This was all before deliberations. When jury began deliberations that evening, Miss Hill told them that this shouldn't take us long. Not for you to decide. And that if they deliberated past 11 p.m., they would be taken directly to a hotel, even though none were prepared to stay overnight. That right there, that statement right there, that is like jury intimidation. That is like threatening them. You'd have to stay at a hotel even though you weren't told. And now you're not prepared, so you feel like you have to make a decision in order to go home. Oh my God. The more I read of this, the more I'm like, Becky's a hoe name. Miss Hill told jurors after the trial that they would be famous. Juror 578 took this to heart and made an appearance on Good Morning America the night of the verdict, which is why on the day the jury began deliberations, he wore a suit coat for the first time during trial. After the verdict and immediately before sentencing, Miss Hill pressured the jury to speak as a group to reporters from a network news show. She traveled with the jurors to New York City when they appeared on the Today Show. Like, shit. The verdict was overturned last week. Friday's stream, wait, what? It's titled Wait, What? Because there's always something in every document I read where my brain goes, wait, what? So I just decided to title Friday's show Wait, What? Because it kind of fit. It's where we might talk about one topic, we might talk about 10 topics. It's kind of whatever we get to, but last week we talked about the South Carolina Supreme Court and Jeremy Hill's stuff. Miss Hill got a book deal. Behind the Doors of Justice was released August 3rd of 2023. She had been planning to write a book about the trial even before it began. King Bob means others? No, not that I'm aware of. This is just... In the period leading up to the trial, she repeatedly told coworkers that a guilty verdict would sell more books and that she needed to sell books because she needed a lake house. I don't know. I have no idea. But I wouldn't be surprised. Miss Hill's book, however, caused some jurors to come forward to describe her efforts to obtain her desired guilty verdict through jury tampering during trial. In August of 2023, several jurors provided affidavits or statements to Mr. Murdaugh's defense counsel describing the tampering. Hey, we got Jules. Thank you for supporting us. I have no idea what those jewels are. So did she write a book on every case she's in? I don't know. I have no idea. Hey, AT1, how are you? Oh my goodness. She probably writes a pamphlet. She probably has a journal at home, like a diary. Oh my goodness. Sometimes you just look at stuff, and you're just like, how the hell did we get here? Like, how the hell did we get here? Let me open up StreamYard. Thanks to the one person who disliked my stream. But thanks to the 27 of you who hit the like button. I appreciate you very, very much. And King Bob, thank you for the 5 Squid Pro Quo memberships. I appreciate you very much. We need more green. Yes, we do. Next Tuesday, there will be a members only. I'm gonna do every other week just based on the schedule. I feel like that's sustainable for me because I feel like I always get in over my head. I say I'm going to do a bunch of stuff and then I get stressed out and it never works. So those went to AT1, Deborah Schifferly, sorry, a bunch of names, FEMA Help, and Peculiar Optics. I didn't realize you subscribed to me. Well, thank you. That means a lot. Appreciate that. All right. September 5th, Murdaugh filed a motion with the South Carolina Court of Appeals for leave to file a motion for a new trial based on the evidence Ms. Hill's jury tampering. Court of Appeals grants the motion. November 1st, he petitioned the Supreme Court for a writ of prohibition to prohibit Judge Newman from adjudicating the new trial motion based on public statements Judge Newman made after the trial jury returned guilty verdicts. Plus, Judge Newman was just... The South Carolina Supreme Court also mentioned the fact that he let things in, specifically the prior bad acts and the amount of time that the prosecution was allowed to spend on the financial crimes was over 12 hours. That, yeah, you can let them talk about it, but he should not have let it go on that long. So the Supreme Court also made a few judgments about Judge Newman. November 15th, Supreme Court denied the petition as moot because Newman recused himself from hearing the new trial motion. December 18th, Chief Justice appointed retired Chief Justice Jean H. Toll to serve as the trial judge, hearing Mr. Murdaugh's motion for a new trial. Hey, Stacy, thanks for being a member for 5 months. How time flies. Keep doing you, Squid. Thank you so very, very much. And speaking of doing me, the QR code that is above my head, if you're watching on TV, or can one of my mods put my other channel in the chat? That is my other channel. That has everything to do with my career as a corrective exercise specialist and occupational therapy assistant. And that is my passion project. We are up to 358 subscribers. I would really, really, really love to get that channel monetized. That is my heart, my soul, my passion. This is fun to talk about and make fun of people and figure things out and just look at things that might have an impact on the entire world. That channel has an impact on you and you personally. So it's that's my baby. That I have so many ideas for that channel, but in order for me to do some of the things, I need y'all's input and I need y'all's support. So please go subscribe to that channel right there. It is Evidence Through Motion. It's my passion. It's my passion. And speaking of my passion, I don't have, the little took it. I lost my my can of, I will be right back. I lost my can of F-bomb. I put it in my gym bag to take it to the gym because these hands, these calluses needed some work. My F-bomb. So if you do not know, I have a partnership with Tallowed Truth, F-bomb. This is Tallowed Skincare. It is beef tallow, grass-fed beef tallow with honey and frankincense. I use this for everything, from scratches, cuticle care, just basic face care. However, they do have new products, including a face whip, and they also have a sunscreen. So if you go to thetallowtruth.com, because what I put on my skin is super important to me as I'm trying to get healthier. I'm watching what I put on my skin, and the amount of chemicals that may be endocrine disruptors, I'm not willing to take chances with certain things, including mine and my daughter's health. So I use F-Balm. Go to thetallowtruth.com and use code SQUID for 15% off. You will not regret it. I love this stuff. I am addicted. And when I say I lost my can, it's because I always keep a can of this within arm's reach. I use it all the time. And because I've been talking so much, I need a lip balm, and this is the perfect one. So, yeah. And hey, Musey, how are you doing? Oh, it smells like Frank. Stop. So that is my, that is my favorite thing right now. Oof. When you get an empty tin of F-Balm, fill it with safe stuff and give it to baby squid. The thing about it is I ordered a 4-pack of these. I use it every day, and it is still, like, it's still full. Like, you can see, I use it. A little goes a long way. And, like, I use it for everything. And it's still crazy. So, hey, traveling fools, how are you? How are you? Oh my god, so good to see you. However, I have not emptied a can yet because a little goes a long way. I use it multiple times a day and I still don't use it all. It's crazy. I'm waiting for, like, have I not gotten to the end of this can yet? But anyway, yeah, it does last forever. It looks like a hockey puck. It does come in a little can, but it's F-Balm. I mean, how is that not, like, my personality? And it's a Canadian company, but we don't hold that against them. Huh. All right. Do you have any info on getting my kidneys to work properly? Unfortunately, I am not a nephrologist. However, Dr. Jason Fung on YouTube is a nephrologist. So trial court ordered a hearing in 2024. Single jury testified 1 business day earlier to accommodate scheduling. Doesn't matter. All of these people. Juror testified. Ms. Hill tell jurors regarding Murdaugh's decision to testify. Watch his body language. X testified she heard Ms. Hill's comment regarding Mr. Murdaugh's decision to testify in his own defense. It was rare, and this was an epic day. Whether you think these things or not, it's one of those things that it's one thing to think something, it's another thing to say it, especially in the position she was in. So juror Z, more jurors just saying, trial court then examined juror Z regarding her affidavit, affirmed each paragraph therein, including affirmance. During the trial, Ms. Hill told the jury not to be fooled, instructed the jury to watch him closely immediately before he testified, look at his actions, his movements, which I understood to mean he was guilty. Yeah, that's why the 15% off has no end date, and you can use it over and over again. It's 15% off of every order, not your first order. Like, some promo codes are like, oh, your first box or your first order. It's like, no, this is every order. Some great products come from Canada. That's true. That's very true. I love my Canadian peoples. I love it. I just joke because, that's what I do. I'm snarky like that. But So Ms. Hill testified after the jurors. She denied engaging in jury tampering. She does not. She's the Laura Owens of the court system. She does not think she did anything wrong. Therefore, she will never admit that she did anything because she, in her mind, does not actually think she did anything wrong. And that's the entire problem with this issue, is that it's not that she did it. It's that she did it and she thinks she did no wrong. It's it's astounding to me of, like, the what Like, how do you not understand this? She also denied, stating that she wanted a guilty verdict to promote book sales. Here's the kicker. She admitted she plagiarized portions of her book and that her profits from the sales in the 6 months before it was withdrawn from publication because of her plagiarism was approximately $100,000. She admitted the book contained unfounded statements included for poetic license or literary ease. When you are writing a book about a trial, you are not writing a fiction. So to take literary license or poetic license is like, oh my god, that's like writing a book about the brain and not even putting any brain structure in there. And I say this because I'm listening to a new audiobook when I'm at work, when I'm like doing physical work, my one job, and I'm listening to a book on the brain. And that's like from a neuroscientist. And it's like imagining writing a book about the brain, having never studied the brain. Oh, I'm taking poetic license with a nonfiction book. Ugh. Have a nice day, Missy. It's just so... Examination by the trial court revealed that Ms. Hill's denial during the examination of questioning a juror during the murder trial was not truthful, and she in fact did want a guilty verdict. Eesh. Gonna take my wife out to dinner in just a few minutes. Our 26th wedding anniversary was last week. I want to take her somewhere she wants to go while I have the strike. Take care, everybody. You have a great night and happy anniversary. Wonder if anyone has tried the USA-made Humbly shampoo and conditioner bars. I haven't, but kind of worth trying. I get my hair done next week, so no more brassy next week. We're going back to ashy. So, Barnwell County Clerk of Court testified to rebut Ms. Hill's denial that she wanted a guilty verdict. Ms. McElvin was assisting in the courtroom during the trial. Oh. And she did discuss with you what if anything. Oh, I still hate that phrase, what if anything. Is anybody still scarred by what if anything from Elaine in the Johnny Depp trial? Like 4 years later, and I'm still like, I'm still. Did she discuss with you about how she felt the verdict should turn out to be in the Murdaugh trial, vis-a-vis in reference to the book? What would help the book? A guilty verdict. Tell the judge and tell me exactly what you did. She said to you that you remember this is prior to trial. First of all, she said we might want to write a book because she needed a lake house and I needed to retire. And from then, further conversation, it was that a guilty verdict would sell more books. And if we left it at that, this was before even in December. Yeah, what if anything could... I know. I'm still, every time... So, I skipped through a few different creators while watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard. And the thing that goes through my mind every time I hear what if anything is Emily D. Baker going, Elaine, or however Emily D. Baker does it. She is so her own, like, I can hear it in my voice, but in my head, but my impressions just suck. But go back, and Emily D. Baker had like 30,000 people watching. But like, when she says Elaine, like, I cannot get it out of my head. And then Vice is also saying Elaine are the things that I like can't yeah. So she's talking about a guilty verdict even in December, and the trial was in February. Ms. McElvin also testified that Ms. Hill made comments to her like, don't be fooled by the evidence presented by Mr. Murdaugh's attorneys, identical to the statements reported by some jurors. The final witness was the alternate juror, 741. She testified Ms. Hill told the jurors the defense is about to do their side, And they're going to say things that will try to confuse you, but don't let them confuse you or convince you or throw you off. Not her place. And I know I've said this, and I know I'm going to get in the comments, you keep saying the same stuff over and over again. Well, it's because the same phrase is necessary all the time, because the more we read into this, the more it's like, why would you do this? Like, why would you do this? March 25th, 2024, Ms. Hill resigned from office in disgrace. May 2024, it was reported the State Ethics Commission had referred ethics complaints against Ms. Hill for criminal prosecution. May 14th, 2025, Ms. Hill was arrested and charged with perjury, obstruction of justice, and misconduct in office. December 8th, 2025, Ms. Hill pleaded guilty to those charges. Her perjury conviction concerned her testimony at the evidentiary hearing for Mr. Murdaugh's motion for a new trial, in which she testified she did not give news media access to sealed trial exhibits. There we go. That's what I couldn't remember. She leaked sealed trial exhibits to the media. As if you didn't do enough damage, you leaked sealed information. Girl, Becky, yeah, you got a problem. You got some problems, and you really should not have been given just probation. I really feel that you should have done jail time for this. This is the thing where I feel people need to be charged with perjury and obstruction more often and be held accountable for their actions. Because the only way people are going to stop doing shit like this is to be held accountable. Because I guarantee you, and I mentioned this on Friday, I guarantee you, one, she didn't think she was doing anything wrong. Two, when she did, if she did think she was doing anything wrong, she didn't think she was going to be held accountable because nobody gets charged with perjury. And if nobody gets charged with perjury, people feel emboldened to lie to the courts because there's not going to be any discipline and accountability. So more people need to be held accountable for their shitty behavior. Just saying. May 14th, did they do? Include the exhibits she showed the media were crime scene photographs of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh's slain bodies, forensic evidence, and I feel like this was written for the court, but I feel like certain things in here were written again as this was to be covered by YouTubers. I just have this weird feeling that certain motions and certain things, yes, they have a point, and yes, they were written for the court, but certain things are mentioned in these to pull at heartstrings and to get the YouTube audiences, because people know that these high-profile cases are going to be covered by YouTube, whether it be independent creators like me, large creators like Emily D. Baker, Rackets, super tiny channels like me, or even like mainstream channels like Law and Crime and Court TV are going to cover these things. And I feel like this was written for the public just as much as it was written for the court. So she gave pictures to the media of their bodies. And although my anatomy side and my just morbid curiosity wants to see certain things, because I'm just fascinated by I like when I get to hear an autopsy report or things like that, because I like to know from an anatomical perspective what happened. That's just my OT brain coming out, where I need to know certain things. However, there's a limit. I would not ask, or if I was shown or sealed things, I'd be like, there's an ethics problem here that I just don't think I can. Forensic evidence, however, conclusively proved she escorted news media to secured areas of the courthouse after hours, where she allowed them to photograph sealed exhibits. And she attempted to profit from Maggie and Paul's unalivings by not only advising the jury to convict Mr. Murdaugh so she could write a book, but even by selling access to grisly photos of their slain bodies. That's just, hey, Tammy, that's just a level of like, what, huh? Like, why? Just when you think that it can't get any more ridiculous, here we are. May 13th, the Supreme Court vacated the order denying a motion for a new trial. Supreme Court ruled both the state and Murdaugh's defense skillfully presented their cases, but their efforts were in vain because Colleton County Clerk of Court Rebecca Hill placed her fingers on the scales of justice, denying Murdaugh his right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. The fact that they put this in there, the Supreme Court, 5 justices on the South Carolina Supreme Court said she interfered with a fair trial. So him suing her only seems like a fair, it only seems right. And we have no choice but to reverse the denial of Murdaugh's motion for a new trial due to Hill's improper external influences on the jury. So the Supreme Court established Hill made these statements. Supreme Court ruled that Ms. Hill engaged in the wrongful conduct under color of state law, and that her position as the Colleton County Clerk of Court and was the primary caretaker of the jury amplified the impact Hill's comments had on the jury. And yes, he will be spending the rest of his life behind bars for the financial crimes, 40 years between state and federal prison. However, that doesn't make this any less of following the revelation of Mr. Murdaugh's financial crimes, South Carolina court placed him in receivership. Mr. Murdaugh has funded his trial defense with a $600,000 withdrawal from his 401k. This withdrawal to fund his legal defense was authorized by the court overseeing his receivership. These retirement funds were employer contributions to his retirement, untainted by any criminal activity, and were his sole remaining asset. Murdaugh spent his entire $600,000 on his trial defense. The South Carolina Supreme Court had ruled that Ms. Hill's actions, motivated by her own desire to profit from the trial, caused these funds to be lost, ruling that Mr. Murdaugh's trial defense was in vain because Colleton County Clerk Rebecca Hill placed her fingers on the scales of justice, thereby denying his right to a fair trial. They repeat it. The fact, it's always, like, I'm not a lawyer and I don't do legal writing, but I still go back to my high school English teacher, my Brit and English Lit professors. When writing a paper, you want to repeat what will make the most impact, and you want to leave your audience with an impact statement. And this is an impact statement. Because how can any judge look at this and say 5 justices literally said that she interfered with the jury, and how can you not side with us when we're suing her for interfering with the jury, when the South Carolina Supreme Court already decided that she did it? It's to repeat it twice, like, and this is 17 pages. But we made it through almost 17 pages in an hour and a half, and that's after my 10 minutes of introductions and housekeeping stuff. So we made it through 17 pages in an hour and 20 minutes because this was pretty much an easy read. It was straight to the point. It was no BS. Jury tampering in violation of the 6th and 14th Amendments. The right to a trial by an impartial jury secured by 6th and 14th Amendments. as set forth, Murdaugh's right to a trial before an impartial jury was violated by Ms. Hill. Ms. Hill violated Mr. Murdaugh's constitutional right to a fair trial while acting under the color of state law as the elected clerk of court. As a result of Ms. Hill's actions, Murdaugh suffered monetary damages of $600,000. And this is not to say that he's innocent. This is why you don't jury tamper. This is why you don't put your hands into other people's business. Yeah, it's easy. Tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them. Yes. But all in a way that doesn't make you sound like a conceited asshole or a condescending asshole. And I have to say, I don't like Alex Murdaugh, but his lawyers are pretty damn likable people. I gotta say, his lawyers are pretty. I like his lawyers. So, but leave them with, unlike certain other motions that we've read recently, where it's like, why are you telling people all the shitty actions that you did and trying to spin the shitty actions that you did? Why don't you just tell them the shitty actions of others if you're trying to make a point? But what if I am an asshole? Well, I can't help you with that. As set forth above, Ms. Hill's conduct was motivated by evil motive or intent and involved reckless or callous indifference to Murdaugh's federally protected right to trial before an impartial jury, including Ms. Hill's desire to profit from Mr. Murdaugh's trial. He's therefore entitled to a award of punitive damages. Also entitled to recover of attorney's fees. So, and this was Richard Harpootlian. And because of YouTube's address stuff, Angel, I'm almost done, boo. We are going to go back here. All right. So that's James Griffin, Margaret Fox, and Richard Harpootlian, Philip Barber, Andrew Hand. So all of Columbia, South Carolina. You broke it? What'd you break?
No.
Okay. So.
Mommy, blanket.
Blanket?
Yeah.
Girl, it's 80 degrees outside. What are we going to do? All right. On that note, I am going to get going. Friday, we will be talking Hale's lips, her motions that she decided to file, and some interesting things, and some other topics that have come up during the week that I'm just like, wait, what? However, tomorrow, we do have on my other channel at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, we have Your Brain is Hijacked, talking about food additives and the food industry and its effect on your brain and your overall health. So I have some topics to discuss with that, but that's always Thursdays. Tomorrow will be alive. Next Thursday won't be alive because I'm getting my hair done, and that will take like 3 to 4 hours. However, we might do a live on Tuesday. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but there will be a live on Sunday as well. And anyway, guys, you want to say bye?
Bye.
I will let you guys go free to YouTube land because I don't know if anybody who is streaming. Let me see if I can redirect y'all anywhere.
Bye-bye.
Where should we redirect them to? Who is live right now? Lawyer is live. Sues Becky. Murdaugh sues Miss Becky Hill. So he's talking about the same thing. So I will direct you over there. Tell him that I said hi. I sent you guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have the day y'all deserve. And remember, we have a few members of our community that need your prayers. If you are the praying type, please pray for them. And I got all the super chats. I got all that. And bye, guys.
Bye-bye.